Thank you for inviting me here today to testify as we mark the 30th anniversary of Section 230. I also want to give special thanks to Chairman Cruz for his determined and prescient work to pass the Take It Down law, a law which ARI supported and which will make a difference in the effort to hold big tech platforms accountable. As we discuss harms to children online in the wake of Section 230, the Take It Down Act is a commendable effort to correct the historical course. 30 years ago, Congress passed Section 230 to address a narrow problem, whether online platforms could moderate content without assuming publisher liability. Today, the law is widely criticized for enabling unchecked harms online. As we confront artificial intelligence, we should ask ourselves a simple question. Will we repeat the mistakes of Section 230, or will we learn from them? There are two competing interpretations of how Section 230 went so wrong. One view is that Section 230 was ill-conceived from the beginning, and that ordinary tort and First Amendment case-by-case development through the common law would have produced a more nuanced and flexible body of law. Rather than allowing the development of rules through our legal system, however, Section 230 froze answers in place to questions the law had not yet fully considered, much less answered. Another view is that the statute was defensible, but courts interpreted it far beyond what Congress intended, providing platforms with legal immunity not only for user content, but extending legal protections to include significant algorithmic amplification and product design choices. Regardless of which is more accurate, both assessments recognize that the resulting legal regime has been unable to hold platforms accountable in proportion to the harms they have enabled. Families whose children were exploited online or harmed by algorithmically amplified content have too often discovered that the law offers them little recourse. Section 230 may be the 26 words that created the internet, but they also are the 26 words that have visited irrevocable harm to generations of children. I recount the history of Section 230 because Congress now faces a structurally equivalent moment regarding artificial intelligence. Some have suggested freezing state law developments while enacting no comprehensive federal regulation of the technology. Section 230 is what I would call a meta law, a law that determines who governs an emerging industry rather than how that governance would occur. Enacted when the internet was still in its infancy, Section 230's consequences have proven extremely difficult to correct once the industry matured. In practice, the very first meta law on technology often becomes the last major law because it determines who has the power to resist future corrections. I should be clear that Section 230 should not be interpreted to immunize the provider of a generative AI system for harms caused by system outputs. Section 230 protects platforms from liability for content, as the statute says, provided by another information content provider. That framework assumes active users and passive hosts. Generative AI systems do not fit that model. A user provides a prompt, but the company designs the model, selects the training data, fine-tunes the system, and deploys it with parameters of its choosing. The resulting output is not third-party content. It is the product of the AI system that the company created. Even though that answer does seem obvious, Congress should clarify the law before lower courts extend immunity further than the text permits. The most relevant lesson of Section 230 is that Congress should not establish broad, essentially unchangeable immunity for an industry that it does not yet understand and its future development can scarcely be charted. The federal preemption of state laws related to artificial intelligence would be a repeat of Section 230's tragic history, replete with all the errors of the former and without any of the latter's corrective measures. There are many forms of legal stagnation that Section 230 has caused. I would urge the committee not to repeat these same mistakes as we embrace new technologies yet again. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to your questions.